Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Wynn in the Bridge. Now we are still carrying on with the mirror chapters, and I think the episode that we left off, well, I know what episode we left off on, but I think the puzzle was called, oh, it says so right there actually, the Triad. Now what was the problem with this one? Well, it's a puzzle and I haven't figured out how to solve it. Oh yeah, and there's two of me as well. And there's also a boulder. And there's a whole bunch of impossible triangles. So that is, you know, a little challenging, should I say. But let's see if we can figure it out within the episode. I might actually, at some point, stop recording and try and plan out the way to solve this puzzle. And then bring you guys back to show you how I solved it. Okay, so what's the situation? Well, there is a white key down here, which I can't really get to. If I rotate everything around like that, then that's bad. So, in order to be white and still manage to get this key... Oh god. Wow, that was so close. So in order to be white and still manage to get that key up there, I think I would need to be... I'd need to come in from this triangle that I'm heading towards now, or the one that the white scientist is heading to now. Not to be racist or anything. Oh hey, we have the conga line again. Okay, so that's probably not going to help. So let's rewind back to the start. Do we both start off as grey? I'm pretty sure we do. Okay, so this is... Well, it should... Yep, okay, so this is pretty much the start. So we do start off grey. Okay, so let me think. In order to be white and get to that key, we need to go down to the impossible triangle where the scientist on the bottom part of the screen is closest to. Why do we need to do that? Because that will allow the scientist to walk up that wall while the key is still, well, against the wall. Because there's no way I'll be able to get the key if it's up like that. So that's out of the question. But how to get a white scientist over to there? Well... Oh wait, can't we just... No? Oh, we can just easily do that. Okay, that's a little bit simpler. So I can get my other guy to walk around like that. Wait, did that change the gravity of the black key? I don't think so. Okay, so what I think we need to do is we need to get the guy on the top to go around in basically a... Well, I was about to say a circle, but this is really more a triangle. And if I am... Oh, wait, hold on. My other guy is there. And I can't really... No, can't do that. Now that's the other problem. I was thinking if I can get him to go around the entirety of the stage, then eventually he'll be black and within, well, grey, and within the same space that the grey key is in. But I don't think that'll work. Maybe what we... Okay. Think about this, Wynn. Think about this. Okay, so let's see. If we go... If we get this scientist to use that, and then we get our other guy to use that... Wow, that is... Wait, what just happened? Okay, so whenever you use the triangle, it inverts the stage. Okay. That's good to know. And then, I can... go down to here. Wow, that is... Yeah, this is going to take some time to get accustomed to, I think. If I can get this grey scientist to, say, walk along the floor where the door is, I think maybe we'll be able to get somewhere. Now we have two grey scientists in one area, and that's going to lead to my death. Well, my deaths, if you want to get technical. Huh. I remember watching back my video that I made well, the previous episode, the video of the previous episode, and thinking, I think I have a lead, but I don't have a lead. Where's my scientist? Where's my other scientist? I don't know where... Oh, okay, he's up there. So I can then use... Whoa, wait. Why didn't the stage change? That's interesting. Curious. But we can't go around that way, so instead what we might want to do is get this guy to walk around this way. I think I'm onto something here. So if I can get that guy... Yep, that guy that's sliding right now, it's really hard to say which scientist I'm looking at. Yeah. The scientist that just used the portal. So now he's grey. Now if I turn this guy around and get him to use that, then if I turn everything else around, then I have him go and use that triangle. So where's my other scientist? My other scientist is down there. But the thing is, they're both the same colour. Oh, how frustrating. So I need to get one scientist one colour and another scientist the other colour, which means they need to go through a series of inverted or impossible triangles an odd amount of times. Right? That's how this works, isn't it? Okay, so if I tell this white scientist to go through this triangle, and I tell this grey scientist to go through this triangle, we have a situation where we have the wrong coloured scientist in the required segment. And the thing is, I can't... How to... man. Articulation. Articulation and thinking about puzzles don't go well together. And that's also another problem when it comes to the boulder. Can I just spam? Oh, I went through the triangle, but I also died. Managed to do it that time? Okay, so now we have two oppositely coloured scientists in one cell. Which is incorrect. We can get this one scientist to go through here. Now he's white, but he's in the right section. Now somehow we need to keep the guy on the top in that section, and we need to get the guy at the bottom into, well, and we need to get him to be the opposite colour and stay in this section that he's currently in. Well, come back to this section. So how to do that? Well, if the bottom guy goes through the impossible triangle to his right, he'll be grey. Then he goes to the one at the top right, and he'll be white. Then he goes through the one where the white scientist is, and he'll be grey. So yes. I need this scientist to circumnavigate, essentially, the entirety of the level. It doesn't really help that sometimes the controls are inverse. But additionally, I need the white scientist to be far away from the other guy. Okay, and then we just have that scientist go through... The door is locked? What are you talking about? I'm pretty sure the door is still locked, yes. And then we can have one scientist... Okay, hold on. So that's about right. Now it's just a matter of getting the scientist onto the keys at the same time. And that's also going to be an issue. Oh boy. Is it even possible for me to... I mean, I'm sure it's possible for me to do this puzzle. But is it possible for... the scientist... Okay, the scientist through that I apologize if my trail of thought seems disjointed, but I'm actually trying to spend more energy thinking about the puzzle than I am commentating. The commentating is kind of secondary right now, so I do apologize if my thoughts are hard to follow. I don't have, like, disjointed thought disorder or anything, at least I hope not. This is just more of a preference, almost. Okay, so I can get that guy to walk in that direction. What if I get him to walk, say, up the hill? If I can get him to walk up the hill enough, and then I just do that. There we go, we got the key. And now, we need the grey guy to be white. So we just circumnavigate the entirety of the level again. Let's avoid that boulder. Let's do that. Let's have this guy walk to this triangle and then get him to use it before he runs into himself. Which is probably not going to happen on second thought. Well, you know what, let's just have him walk towards that triangle first. And then let's have him, that scientist, go through there. Then let's tell this scientist to walk through here before he runs into himself. And then we just rotate the stage to the right, and we get him to use the triangle. And then, somehow, we need to get both scientists to the right door, which I think it's just a simple matter of, yeah, inverting the stage. There we go. Okay, so, judging by the experiences from the past few episodes, I managed to solve the puzzle that I ended the previous episode on within like 5, maybe 10 minutes, although to be honest I'm not entirely sure if this is 5 or 10 minutes worth of video. It might actually be a bit longer. Now the only real problem now is to get... Oh, there we go! I apologize if you heard a click. That was probably nothing you should be worried about. Everything is still fine. I know that's probably going to make other people worried, but believe me, everything is fine. You guys probably didn't even hear the click anyway. Okay, so I remember being stuck on the opposite level of this. So what do we need to do? Well, there's a door down here, and that door is locked, and it requires 2 keys. So the end goal, we need one boulder to be pressing to the right on that key there by the lamp, well, to the right of the screen, and we need one boulder to be pressing against the key button at the top of the screen. So how would we do that? Well, good thing is there doesn't seem to be any vortex in this version of the game, which is always great. I really don't like dealing with vortexes. So we can do that, but pressing that button isn't going to help matters much. Now if I go through... Oh, okay. So if I slowly roll the boulders down, eventually one of them will fall off and land onto the button near the start point. Hopefully. If I can get it arranged so that the 2 boulders don't fall off at the same time. But then how am I going to follow this up? Well, I'll decide when I get there. If I can just get one boulder off the side, like so. Okay, not like so. Oh, jeez. This is another one of those levels where the execution of the techniques is harder than the actual solution. Well, it's part of the solution, but you know what I mean. It's easier to figure out the level than it is to... oh, what's going on? Are these 2 boulders obeying other physics? Ow, okay. No, I don't think they are. Those lamps on the sides all look the same, in fact. So this is probably going to take a moment or so for the 2 boulders to get to the end with little enough velocity so that I can turn one back and the other one forward. Like so. And now the other problem remains that I now need to get to the veil before that happens. Okay, so that one is being pulled pretty much down, right? How about this? How about if I walk around here, that boulder is probably going to let go of its current position. And instead of me waiting... Oh, hold on, let me get back to the start. Okay. And if I can get onto this portion here, I hope you guys know which portion I'm trying to get onto, the one I tried to jump onto just now and failed at. Like so. How is this going to help me? This isn't going to help me at all. Because I need the boulders to be facing this way while I am standing on that platform that I was just on. Oh man, okay. So maybe if I roll these things slow enough, then they won't actually intersect with my body. Okay. But like, which direction are they following? Are they both following the same direction? I hope so. Okay, how about I try and do this? I get one of them down there and then the other one rolls out. Up onto this portion. But goes slowly enough that it doesn't intersect me. So how about if I actually move away? There we go. Now what's the situation? Now I need to... That's not gonna work. I love how I need to be, like, killed in order to identify if something won't work or not. Why are you going up that way? You are obeying different gravity, aren't you? Sneaky boulder. Okay, so he is going to roll, eventually. Hopefully. I want that one to roll towards the button. Wait, what level of the chapter is this? I'm not sure. I need to check that. This might actually be the last level. Although, what was the last level last time? I can't remember. I'm pretty sure it wasn't the intersection. Because I kind of remember being stuck on the intersection and then I think there was like one more afterwards. So if I roll this around like so... Oh yeah, of course, the lamps tell me which direction the gravities are pointing. And as you can see, there are two different gravities. But which boulder is obeying which lamp? I don't know. All I just know is that the gravity is also dependent on the interactions between the other gravities. Or it's relative to the orientation of the stage, should I say. That sounds a bit more clever and more thought through. Something which I tend not to do. Okay, so that's going to roll up there, but the thing is, I need to be at the door. And I can't be at the door. Okay, so what needs to happen? I need to be at the door. I figured that out. I need one boulder to be on that button, which it is, and one boulder to be on the northern button. And then the door will unlock. If I roll everything around that way, then the boulder will just want to... Yeah, look at that! This thing isn't obeying normal gravity. Well, I mean, it's obvious it's not obeying normal gravity if you take the meaning of normal gravity to be the gravity that my guy is obeying. but still. Yep, that's going to kill me. What if I get that boulder down into the door, and then maybe, just maybe, I can get out of the way of this boulder before it hits me? That's not going to happen either. So right now I'm trying to figure out how to get out of my precarious situation. How far do I have to rotate the screen? Like 180 degrees, which would be why I'm constantly getting hit by the boulder. Okay, let's reset the puzzle. Yes, reset.